Welcome, everyone. You're in the Poetry Cafe. In case you were supposed to be in a different Zoom meeting this morning, this is the one that you're in. My name is Red Wing Kesar. I'm a nurse and writer and work at UCSF at the MERI Center for Education and Palliative Care. There's sort of a cohort of people on the screen today who have been coming somewhat regularly to these poetry sessions, which is why it seems like we know each other, because we kind of do. And every week there are new people who join, which is really fun and wonderful. And we welcome people to come regularly or occasionally or whatever works for you. It seems for those of us who are joining fairly regularly that this hour during the week, and certainly for me, is just one of the highlights of my week, because I love getting to hear people's words and creative energies just flow through all of us. And this week, with this amazing full moon, there's just a special kind of energy that is available to us if we just take the time to breathe and feel it and let things in. So given all that we've all been going through for these last months, some weeks I kind of focus a little bit more on a idea or concept or topic. Some weeks it's just a little bit of everything. Just ask us all to really imagine ourselves in a circle with each other right now. That everyone you see on the screen, and hopefully you know about putting it on gallery view at the top of your screen so that you can see everyone at the same time. And then if someone's speaking and you want to just see that person, you can put it back on speaker view. But today I'm kind of going to focus on poetry of grief and grieving, because that's such a big cloud that all of us are living in right now. I'm going to start with this very short poem by W.S. Merwin called Separation. Your absence has gone through me like thread through a needle. Everything I do is stitched with its color. I invite us to take a breath. I'm going to read this again. Separation. Your absence has gone through me like thread through a needle. Everything I do is stitched with its color. And when I read that poem by W.S. Merwin this week, it also brought me back to a poem that was written in this class last week by Neil O'Brien, who's in this circle, with a prompt of safety instructions. And his words were, "We're all exposed, vulnerable really. So in this time, breathe. And know in this time healing too resides. One day I finally knew I am stitched to a larger darkness and could expand to become a light that becomes each day and returns into each night more whole." This image of being stitched with color, with light, with darkness. So we usually start this session with going around the circle and just really saying our names, where we are physically, And my question for you today as we go around is just to name one thing that you are grieving right now. So, those of you who've been with us are sort of understanding more and more about this idea that I talk about of poetic medicine, and that poetry is just something that can come through us easily if we let it, and surprise us and help us in our healing journeys and allow us to express things that maybe we haven't found another way to express. And I keep being pleasantly surprised and amazed at where we can go in just an hour together in the expression of all kinds of feelings. So I'm going to read a poem by probably my favorite poets. Probably a poem that many of you know. It's sort of one of the quintessential palliative care poems by Mary Oliver, called In Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light and giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. I ask you to listen for a line or a word that really resonates for you, that jumps out and speaks to you. I'm going to read this poem another time. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the palms. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it. And when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. So I'd love to ask for words or lines that really touch your heart from that poem.
hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it.
Thank you.
When the time comes to let it go, to let it go.
I like the line about the blue shoulders of the ponds, and every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now, which for me brings up images of sort of disengaging from Earth and moving on to beyond.
Yeah.
I like hold it against your bones and then let it go.
I like the first word, look.
Calls our attention.
I like today, right now, the fires and Black River of loss. For specific reasons.
I appreciate that you said right now, Wendy, because this poem and most poems that we read, we hear them, we read them differently every time we read them. And there's a different line or a different word that jumps out depending on where we are in each moment.
Like, none of us will ever know.
I like the fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. Very evocative.
Yeah. I feel like I can smell the cinnamon in that. So I'm going to suggest that as a prompt from this, you can use any line that speaks to you, or you can use to live in this world, ... or everything I have ever learned, ... So either of those lines to use as a prompt, and we'll write for about 3 minutes, and just allow yourself to have words flow through your mind and your heart and out your arms into whatever writing utensil you're using. And you will hear the bell ring at 3 minutes.
Repeat the first prompt.
First prompt is to live in this world.
Thank you.
So I'm always aware that 3 minutes is a pretty short time, but it's always whatever starts to come through, comes through. And if it's something that really resonates deeply with you, you'll work on it later or keep it as a part of something bigger, perhaps. So what we usually do is open it up for a few minutes for people who are willing to share what just came through them. And any responses, really, again, the responses only of a word or a line that resonated for you. You're not here to give critical feedback or anything like that to anyone. This is just about allowing each other space to be creative. So is anyone willing to share what came through? I'm going to ask us to do another short write. About the word or the person that you first spoke of this morning in the question of what are you grieving right now? So either a person or a thing that you are feeling some grief or loss about, just allow yourself to write something about that. We'll hear the timer.
How many minutes?
3. Anyone willing to jump in? Thank you all for, as always, just being willing to show up here in this kind of strange way, knowing that we really are a circle, but can't feel each other, which is hard for those of us who love to feel each other. But I welcome you to continue with whatever words started to come through today. The invitation is always there that if something has come through that you feel like is a poem and you're willing to send it to us, we're collecting the poems that come out of this journey together. Some of them have already been published in our monthly newsletter, so we love that. As I said at the beginning, feel free to come and go into these sessions for the month of May. We're doing them on Fridays. I think we changed the day in June. Also to know, and Gail will probably send you again, at UCSF, we're doing an hour-long day of, an hour of remembering, kind of online memorial for not only those we have loved who have passed in the last months, but other things that we have grieved. So there will be a 1 hour, what we've always called Day of Remembrance, but it will be an hour of remembrance online on Zoom on Friday, May 15th from 3 to 4, and we will send you the information. If you have a name of someone who you would like to be read, or actually it's going to be a rolling scroll on the screen, send that to Gail. But no, it'll just be kind of an online ritual. And I want to end actually today with a poem that comes from the tradition in India, where the Wesak moon, the full moon of this week, which is an incredibly potent moon in many traditions. In Buddhist tradition, it was the day that the Buddha was born, enlightened, and died all at the same time. And there's huge celebrations around the enlightenment of all beings. So that's what has been happening this week with the full moon. And our grief and our prayers and our love are all part of that enlightenment. So there's a traditional spoken poem during that time called the Great Invocation. And it uses the word God. And I know for some people that's a word that triggers things both positively and negatively, but just allow the word in this poem to be whatever it means to you. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into all human hearts. May this love return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all human will. The purpose which the masters, the teachers know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. May the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and positive power restore the plan on earth. So may you go forward into your weekend and week, allowing in the light and the love and this creative flow that you have started here this morning. May it be with you and continue to surprise and heal you. Thank you, thank you, thank you again for joining here today, and I hope to see you all again soon. Many blessings.